Good morning. It's a brisk 5 degrees here in Virginia, and sorry my last video ended on a bit of a sad note, but I'm over it. It's Tuesday morning, so we took yesterday to regroup, think about what's going to happen and stuff it. We're going. Got some friends that have come over from Victoria. We've reconvened here, planned a strategy, which the strategy is we're going somewhere. So we're going to head for Wilpena Pound, and after that, don't know, we got 3 weeks off. We're just going. We'll just work it out as we go. I reckon I'm going to put some posts up on the Y62 Southern Patrols forum and see if anyone wants to join in on whatever we end up doing. But yeah, we're not going to let this COVID rubbish stop us from having a good trip. So thanks for all the tips. The community has come and said, I've made these too low, so I'm going to cut them in a minute, and we're going to hitch up and we're going to get out of here. Got 3 weeks of food, water, booze. Let's go have an adventure. Screw COVID.
There we go. Not quite as fancy as Plan A, but from what I've been taught on YouTube comments, airflow underneath here is quite important. So otherwise it's going to kick the rocks back up. So we'll just give it a bit of a trim and time to hook up the van. We should really talk about the plan. Big Red Bash was the plan A. And looking at the information we've got at the moment, restrictions say we're prohibited to go to Queensland. But if we do and we want to return, then we have to isolate for 14 days. Now I've got, almost 3 weeks leave. I don't want to spend 2 of those weeks isolating. So as far as I'm concerned, it's off, sadly. And our Victorian friends that are traveling with us, they can't come back into South Australia because you're only allowed to return into South Australia if you're a returning visitor. Now I haven't seen this documented anything publicly on the internet by any government bodies, but there is some Facebook rumour that there's a 72-hour window that Victorians can cross into South Australia, go to Queensland and then come back. That means basically a dash across SA into Queensland, Birdsville, do the bash, come back. It would be all very quick and rushed. Really frustrating, and my heart goes out to the organisers of Big Red Bash because they missed out on last year. They got to the 11th hour this year, and then this has all happened conveniently right before school holidays and everything. I'm not going to talk about COVID conspiracies, but it all happening just on the edge, and they've had to set up. They've had to pay all their costs. So yeah, I do feel for those guys and all the people that can't go, because I've heard about people getting turned away on the WA border, essentially saying, sorry, you can't come across. Imagine driving all the way from Perth and then turned around when you get to the border. Very frustrating. So we're going to make the best of a bad situation and just head north and see what happens. So I'm not sure what's happening after Wilpena Pound, but I'm going to vlog it and you'll see what happens. And if I know this community, I bet I'm going to bunch into a bunch of Y62 somewhere. So look out for that. Let's have a quick chat about what I've changed for this trip. Thinking about communications and a few other bits and pieces. Oh, for starters, you'll see that ginormous antenna on the back. It's not a broomstick, it's actually a very thin 9 dB antenna.
We tested this when we did our recent trip to Pitjara, up just north of Burra. And we all left Pitjara together, and I stopped to get some food and fuel up and that sort of thing. And the rest of the convoy kept going. Left the radio on channel 56, as we always do, VK56. And about, half hour more down the track, I hear a communication on the UHF. And it's that's Ilya. And I could hear him. It wasn't clear, but I could hear him. And we had a brief chat together. And then I rang him on my phone, because with the 9 dB antennas, it's it goes a long way, but it's a thin bandwidth. So as soon as you go up or down a hill or something's in the way, it doesn't work as well. But flat, it goes for miles. I rang him and said, where are you? And he goes, oh, Burra. No.
Anyway, we got on Facebook Messenger and tracked our locations together. He was 42 kilometers away from me, and we were talking via this antenna. I've never heard of UHF doing that before. So the big 9 dB for on the road travel is a winner in my book, especially if you're going to put it up high on the roof rack. So that's one change. You'll notice I'm running an antenna on the front now too. What's that, you ask? Well, that's the Telstra Wi-Fi Cell Go something or other from Telstra. So antenna on the front. Module is at the back here. I've just put this adjacent to my fridge, and essentially you can press this little button here and change it to 3G, 4G or auto. And then on the back glass, which I might move this, you can see that's where I've put the antenna. You've got to have a certain amount of separation with these antennas between like the front or external and internal. So I'm going to play around with that. I think I've got it set up okay, but they're not supposed to sort of be in a line of sight, and they kind of are. So I'll play around with that to see if we can get some improvements. I must admit, I'm using it in my driveway. I'm not noticing any difference at all. So we'll see what it's like when we get out bush and see if we've actually got an extra range or an increased range. I'm into 4G, so I've got data, but I'm told if you leave it on auto, it hunts between 4G and 3G. I was having a chat to Gavin Harris about this, and what he does is just puts it on 3G, so it's not constantly hopping in and out of zones, because when it's hopping, it takes a minute to kind of reset. He just puts it on 3G, and he's got phone coverage like, you know, pretty much everywhere up and down the coast of Queensland. So we'll give that a go just to get a bit of extra range, because I'm still working, still taking phone calls at the moment. Had a bit of a change of lighting. The Navas have come off, not because there's anything wrong with them, just because I want to test these Supernovas. And I have. These are super bright. They go kilometers, brightest lights I've seen, but they're very focused. So then we put these lights on the roof. For whatever reason, I've only got 2 of them to work so far, but I must admit, even just the 2, I'm getting more of a homogeneous spread. I actually like the Supernovas on the roof lights better than I like the ones that have the round 8.5 inch Infinities. That like the Infinities have got like a hot spot in the center, which goes for miles. They'll travel further than any LED light I've seen. But if you want width as well and spread, these ones on the roof are actually, like I'm doing a direct comparison because I've only got 2 working on the roof, the outer 2, and comparing with these inner 2. If I'm driving at night, I'll show you a bit later on in a vlog, but really impressed with the roof lights. When all 5 are going, holy moly, that's going to be great width and spread. So I'm happy with the Supernovas on the roof, very much so. As we're planning to be away for a while, I've put the my old fridge in. So I've got the full flat floor, no third row seating at all anymore. And that's been running on freeze, and I've got this little one running on fridge just for drinks basically, and that's been pumping along all week. I was slightly concerned that the lithium DCS80 wouldn't have enough punch to drive both of them like constantly, but it has. So essentially I just go out to Eddie each day. That's about a 15-minute drive each way. And overnight, with the fridge and freezer running, it drops down to about 50% charge in the DCS battery. And then I pretty much run, Eddie back. And when I come back at the end of the day, it's on about 90%. And then it drops down to 50 as well. The car's been in the workshop a fair bit, so it hasn't had much solar. But if I get days like this, like I think the solar alone is going to run the fridge and freezer, let alone having to drive each day. We will be doing a fair bit of driving. But anyway, the test with the DCS80 is running perfectly. We're 6-7 months in. I still cannot think of a reason why I'd want to have any more than that, to be honest. Maybe if you had a coffee machine, but it would probably do that as well. Okay, no, there is a reason. If you wanted a big inverter at the back of your car, you can't run fat enough cable back to the battery. So that's when you'd put a battery at the back of the car for your big inverter. Okay, so that's the kind of the only reason I could think of having a dual battery these days. Okay, going to finalise some tools and spares to go on these boxes here. Strap everything down, hook up the van, and then we're on the road. And lastly, I've changed the mats that I'm running in here now. So the Nissan mats are out. The Max liners are in. Like these hug and mold the trim perfectly, and it's like a big bucket. I've only got the fronts in because that's all available for the Y62 at the moment, but this is, I'm talking to these guys to make this another product for you guys to make available too, because I think it's going to be a good one. All right, we've got Wobble here in tow, and we're going to do this. Let's get out of here. Right, we're about 150 k's out of Adelaide or Virginia now, so we're heading north, directly north. Just went through Spalding, and I tell you, the weight is just coming off my shoulders now. Have a look at the scenery around here. It's just beautiful. There's not a cloud in the sky, blue skies. You know, you can see hills upon hills, and then shadows of hills in the far distance. Like, this is when your shoulders go back, the lines from your forehead disappear. Like, this is what it's about. Getting out and just enjoying it, and not worrying about all of that, I don't know, the news and the rubbish that happens in the city. So we're heading to Wilpena Pound. We've decided that's going to be our first stop, and we might stay there for a few days, do Skytrek. We've got Wobble in tow, and then I'm going to try and meet up with some other 62s on the weekend and make it out and hit some tracks. When we get to camp, I'll show you what Wilpena Pound looks like, because I haven't been there before, so very keen to see what it's like. We're going full off-grid, and both of us have upgraded our caravan. Wobble's upgraded his caravan 100% everything, and we've mucked around with new lithium batteries as well, the DCS. So we've got 200 amp hour lithiums, Wobble's got 400, and this is where I pose the question to you. What is the right amount of lithium power for your caravan off-grid? Anyway, we'll do some experiments this week and report back, of course. Alright, it's time to settle in. I've got 3 hours to go. Do me doing the finger up wave thing to someone.
I feel with you.
Why is it? In the country, everyone has to wave. It's very courteous. But I'm never going to see you ever again. But you have to do that, don't you? You have to. It's an Australian thing. Just pulled up in Craddock. Like, there's nothing here, nothing at all, except an awesome view, a pub, and we keep going past these little pubs. Some of them look open, some of them are shut, but we've been gagging just to stop. You know, we're probably an hour and a half from sunset, but just stop somewhere and just sit and like look and appreciate this place. Like, have a look out here. Like, everything's big out here. Like, it's probably 30, 40 k's between us and the mountains over there, but it's just, they look huge. And between us and them, there is nothing, not a skerrick. Anyway, this is the little pub. We're gonna stop for a quick Cooper's Pale, I reckon, and enjoy this.
Do you want your sunglasses?
All right, bit of a casualty. What's happened here? Oh, it's just the rubbers come off. It's just torn. Don't know why. Anyway, there goes that. Seemed like a good idea at the time. See, on little pubs, you got to stop in and have a beer. Right there on the shelf. Another Dash fan. All right.
Yes, what were you doing before?
I'll say it again. You got to stop into these little pubs along the way. Even just have like one drink or a packet of chips or a cup of tea or something. They've all got a story. And like these guys at Craddock, they just bought the pub 2 weeks ago. And, you know, this is the gateway to the Flinders. And like, what a spot. They can just come out the back here, have a look around. There's nothing. It's so good. So yeah, Craddock Hotel, if you're coming through this way, stop in and have a beer with these guys. Right.
So are we going tails, go, heads, stay?
Yeah. The way it's turned out is we quite like this pub. And some of us want to stay. Some of us think we should move on. And really, we're going to let fate tell the story.
Well, best of 3.
Only if we need to.
Only.
All right. So
Tails go, head stays.
head stays.
Head stays.
All right. Hang on. I'm gonna flip this around. Hang on.
Alright, you ready?
Go on.
Head stays.
Yes.
I think someone's very disappointed in that.
All right. Kind of annoyingly, we're supposed to be at Wilpena Pound 2 nights ago. No, last night it didn't happen. Tonight it's not going to happen. But like the story needs to tell itself, and we're like lured into this joint. Turns out the owner wants to buy Y62. It's just all going to happen. We put a sticker on the door. We're staying one night, and we're out here tomorrow, and we will go to Wilpena Pound and continue the journey. It's kind of like this story is writing itself, to be honest. Look at this view. Good people at the pub. This happens all the time. I love it. And look, in the morning, I'll show you the view that we're going to wake up to. So, this is what we're going to see tomorrow morning out of our bedroom window. Oh, so good. So good. You happy?
Very happy.
Right, talk about, I need some light here. Talk about the most awesome meal in the middle of nowhere. So good, I'll show you the meals. And that's it. That's it for the vlog for day one. We are going to work out, we're not going to Big Red Bash, we're going to go somewhere else, Wilpena Pound, and I'll show you everything on YouTube. Yeah.